Hey YouTube, Alex Conley here, and we are in the Hakata City Canal Streets area. So on the right is Momotaro Jeans. For those who are not familiar, Momotaro is the classic Japanese story of the peach boy. Basically, there's a giant peach, and they cut the thing open, and there's a boy. I won't go beyond that, so you can check the story out for yourself. But yeah, I grew up reading that story, and very close to my heart. Pretty cool garden here on the left. Even with it being the winter, people are still like putting work and effort into their gardens and into the scenery. It's really nice. And the 7-Eleven on our left here. 7-Eleven. I suppose I could cross here. And a parking lot on the left. Tall apartment building. And a parking lot on the right. Kids playground and a public park. So here we'll get to see one of these bodies of water that Fukuoka is famous for. I don't know if you'd call this a canal or a river, but somebody could probably chime in. It has the visual look of the Dotonbori area waterway, but not sure what you'd call it, but certainly beautiful. There's the Super Sports Zebbio with United Cinemas IMAX, Taito Station. And we'll take a second to just kind of pan around this view. Canal City. Well, let's keep rolling. I'm trying to decide if I want to stop by this mall or not. I think this is the Canal City Mall that I've been reading about is apparently the best mall here in Fukuoka. And for those who don't know, malls in Asia are generally very different than malls in North America. Malls in North America are going through a shift where they're shifting away from retail shopping to more of service-based experiences, and many of them are getting phased out simply from a lack of business. And so they're concentrating, from what I can tell, they're concentrating in areas with money, whereas shopping in Asia seems to be something that, like, shopping malls in Asia seem to be accessible to even like middle class and somewhat lower class, if you want to call them that, people. So not so much something for the rich only. Of course, you can make the argument only people with a lot of money could afford to really freely spend, but that's a different argument. On the right here, we got a furniture store. Parking garage. Honestly surprised by how many cars I see in Japan. There's, of course, there's a lot of exaggeration in Western media, but Western media would have you believe that nobody in Japan has a car. It may simply be due to sheer, population concentration. That while by per capita car ownership is not extreme, but when you end up in one of the most populous cities, like most people, including myself, do, at least on their first trip, you end up in an area with enough cars that it stands out. It's like some kind of school. Mono management service. Bicycle shop. How cool. I'd love to have a bike, but I need to do research on rules of the road here before I attempt that. When I visit any country for the first time, I take very little risk. So next time I come to Japan, I'll probably look into renting a bicycle for the duration of my trip. It seems like a convenient way to get around, faster than walking. Probably get to see a bit more too. Wow. I'll just show you guys Bentley. Luck. So it looks like they offer a 3,000 yen dinner set, about $30 US. Well, that's neat. It's like a TV broadcasting and a delivery individual. Here in Fukuoka, Japan. Okay, so I think this is actually that mall I was talking about, Canal City. They've got Bershka, Zara, Uniqlo, Frank, Global Work. I can't read that very well. H&M, Digel. Can't really read that. It's like a curry restaurant down here. Italian restaurant. Implant center for dentistry. Looks like an apartment, Lions Mansion. So it's kind of ironic to me, but something I'll point out about Asia, traveling in Asia versus the United States. When you say the word mansion in the United States and perhaps other Western countries as well, you think of a, house for a very wealthy person. That is a large, physically large complex, many rooms, many bathrooms. Maybe you imagine that they have a swimming pool or a tennis court or these types of things. But in Asia, mansions seem to refer to apartments. Now, I don't know if it means large apartment or it's just a way to make people feel, better about living in an apartment when their preference might be a larger building. But yeah, typically here you see that word being used to refer to apartments. So if you see mansion on a building, most of those individuals are probably not living on an entire floor or a penthouse type arrangement. Just something to think about if you do see that here in Asia. Pronto Cafe and Bar, and they have various pasta dishes starting at 560 yen for looks like spaghetti and some kind of green onion garlic noodle dish. And if you want a protein, you're going to pay more like 740 yen, 800 yen. So pasta for, I would say, about $5.50 to $8, and perhaps they have other additions that would make the price closer to 10. Here at Pronto Cafe and Bar in 1988. They also offer coffee and tapioca tea. Here's a ramen place full of guys on their work break. It's a few things you'll have to plan around when you come to Japan as far as scheduling goes is one, you'll want to plan around morning rush hour. You'll want to avoid traveling during morning rush hour if you can help it. Two, lunch hour. You'll want to kind of take your pick of a place that is not slammed with workers, because I saw on one review for a popular ramen place, some folks were waiting as long as 75 minutes to have a bowl of ramen. I'm sure the ramen's really good, like the reviews were good, but I know a lot of folks don't want to wait 75 minutes for lunch. And then the third thing that you'll want to account for is the dinner rush hour. So during the evening, when people here in Japan are getting off work, it can be quite crowded and chaotic. As chaotic as Japan gets. I mean, they're mostly quiet and respectful, but still quite a few people on the streets, and people in a hurry to get home, and quite a few people will be in the local restaurants, and so something to think about. Morning commute, lunch hour, and then dinner commute are all going to be busy transit times here in Japan. We got a Lawson's on the left, convenience store. I think the Japanese term is konbini, similar to convenient. Looks like a real estate office across the street. Grab it here for stabilization. And I appreciate everyone bearing with me with these slightly shaky videos. I am, when I get back to the United States, picking up my stabilizer. I've got this stabilizer handheld tool that will move, presumably it'll move the camera around to account for my footsteps. So they ask that you not smoke right here. So something to keep in mind, that if you're at stopped at a light, that you may want to avoid doing that. If you do, if you are a tobacco user, because the smoke can be disruptive to folks standing waiting for the light to change. And up ahead we see Hakata Station. It looks like these train stations look like almost like futuristic giant spaceships. Of course they're not moving, but still an interesting visual. I don't know when they were built or how often they're updated, but this country manages to look relatively futuristic in many ways. Cafe Belos. They've got floats and coffees and morning breakfast combinations. Oh, are we at Yodobashi? I don't know if we're at Yodobashi or not. There's for people that love their Starbucks right there. Coffee chain originally from Seattle, Washington in the USA. And they're actually in every country that I've been to in this trip so far. So I've been to China on this trip. I've been to Cambodia on this trip. And I have been to the Philippines on this trip, and finally I'm in Japan, and I have seen them in each of these four countries. Kind of interesting to see that American brand doing well all over the world. I will say, apparently they had a hard time in Vietnam. Apparently they had a hard time in Australia. Apparently Vietnam has a really strong local coffee scene, as does Australia, which made it hard for Starbucks to be competitive price-wise, since Starbucks is fairly expensive by most people's standards. Amusement developer, hypermedia shop, game and DVD. So you could see here on the left the entrance for the JR line, as well as the subway line. I'll probably be taking the subway tonight to the airport to pick up my JR North Kyushu Rail Pass. I purchased that this morning, and so I'll go and pick that up. So then tomorrow, first thing, I can head to the JR station and immediately hop on the train. I'm not sure which city I'm going to visit first. It's kind of a tough decision, but wouldn't mind an onsen day tomorrow, which would involve heading to Beppu. Onsen, of course, is a Japanese hot spring where you can relax and soak, and that's the whole attraction and the appeal of going to Beppu, is that they have these famous 9 different onsen in town, and that tends to be the biggest draw and perhaps the only draw to that area. I'm also considering Wita, and yeah, big variety of things to do here in Kyushu. And so not only do I want to check the onsen this week, I also want to visit Nagasaki, the site of the atomic bomb. Also want to check out Nakatsu, my grandma's hometown. I should say one of her hometowns. I think she moved once or twice growing up. And there was a couple others, but I'm going to try to do videos in all of them. Nagasaki may be the only exception. I'm going to try to figure out if there are areas that I can film where it wouldn't be disrespectful. It's a place of a lot of sadness for a lot of people. My grandma said that if the wind had blown in the opposite direction, that I probably wouldn't be here today, because she had friends that were rendered infertile from the bomb, and also knew people that were killed in the bombs, but because the wind blew in a different direction than her town, it did not blow the radiation to where she lived, which was very fortunate for me. Like I said, she said I wouldn't be here if the wind had blown in the opposite direction. So we'll see. Nagasaki is probably going to be pretty heavy on my heart anyway. I don't know how much energy I'll have for recording a video in that area. So yeah, we're at Hakata Station here in Fukuoka. My name's Alex Conley. If you enjoy this video, if you want to see more, definitely give me a thumbs up. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Wow, this city is really cool. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I look forward to seeing more. Thank you for joining me, and we're from Hakata City. Until next time.